तो अभी हम लोग एक इम्पॉर्टेंट टॉपिक देखने जा रहे हैं, आर्टेरियल लाइन। ठीक है, आर्टेरियल लाइन। तो इसमें हम लोग बेसिकली आर्टेरियल लाइन अभी होता क्या है कि इसको हम लोग यूज क्यों करते हैं, हम लोग सब कुछ देखेंगे यहाँ पे। तो बेसिकली सबसे पहले आर्टेरियल लाइन क्या होता है, तो बेसिकली एक इन्वेजिव टेक्निक है बीपी मॉनिटर करने की। सो इट इज़ अ इन्वेसिव टेक्निक टू मॉनिटर बीपी, टू मॉनिटर पेशेंट बीपी। तो बेसिकली बहुत सारी चीज़ें मॉनिटर करता है, जैसे सिस्टोलिक ब्लड प्रेशर मॉनिटर करता है, डायस्टोलिक ब्लड प्रेशर मॉनिटर करता है, मीन आर्टेरियल प्रेशर मॉनिटर करता है ना। तो बहुत सारी चीज़ें मॉनिटर करता है, पर एक इन्वेसिव होता है। अपना जो नॉन इन्वेसिव बीपी मॉनिटरिंग कब होता है वो तो अलग चीज़ है ना, दैट इज अ डिफरेंट थिंग। बट दिस इज ए इन्वेसिव टेक्निक विच वी यूज इन अ सम पेशेंट। सो हम लोग कौन कौन से पेशेंट में यूज करते हैं हम लोग वो देखते हैं। तो सबसे पहले इसका डेफिनेशन मैं बता देता हूँ। इसका अगर मैं डेफिनेशन बताऊँ, सो व्हाट इज डेफिनेशन ऑफ इट, इंसर्शन ऑफ कैथेटर इनटू द आर्टेरियल लाइन। सो इंसर्शन ऑफ कैथेटर इनटू एन आर्टेरियल लाइन, into an artery. So what is the definition of the arterial line? Arterial line, it is the insertion of the catheter into the artery. So most commonly used artery is radial artery, femoral artery. So these are most commonly used artery in a invasive arterial BP monitoring. And there is a other artery we can use, but they use rarely. What is that? What they are? They are like dorsal pedis artery, superficial temporal artery, axillary artery, brachial artery. So we can use these artery also, but most commonly used artery is a radial artery and the femoral artery in a invasive arterial BP monitoring. And these are the less used arteries. What is the indication of this? What is the indication of invasive arterial BP arterial line? What is the indication? So the indication of this is, if there is any things happen when we cannot check the BP of the patient by the normal non-invasive blood pressure monitoring, so we can use this arterial line like so when we can't use non-invasive BP technique, then we use arterial line. And other in cases of major surgery, like a surgery which happen for a longer time, like neurosurgery, and in a patient who have high cardiac output or low cardiac output. So so the patient who have high and low cardiac output, the non-invasive blood pressure monitoring do not give correct value of the blood pressure, so we use this arterial line in that patient. And we can also use in the patient who have major blood loss, and also we can use we use arterial line in a burn patient, and massive trauma. So in these patients we can use the arterial line. And also we use this arterial line when we needed frequent ABG, when we needed frequent arterial blood gases, then we cannot puncture the artery again and again, then we use this arterial line, so we can easily draw the sample for the blood gas. So before inserting the catheter, we first do Allen test. So what is this Allen test? So Allen test basically it tell about the collateral circulation of the hand. So basically what we need to do that first, do the hand like that, do the hand like this. So do the hand like this, and do the hand like this, and occlude both radial and ulnar artery. Occlude these both ulnar and radial artery. Then tell the patient to open their fingers. When the patient open their finger, release the ulnar artery. And when you see the flushing in your palm, when you see the flushing in the palm, that means there is a collateral circulation are still there, means when radial artery occluded, the blood supply given by the ulnar artery. If the flushing is not coming, that mean it only depend, the blood supply of that area only depend upon the radial artery. So in that case we need to we need to oh, we need to care about it. What is the contraindication of the, so this is the Allen test basically. What is the contraindication of the arterial line? So the contraindication of the arterial line is the patient having vascular disease. Any vascular disease if the patient have, so in that case we not insert arterial line. Like the if patient have Burger disease, and if the patient have Raynaud's disease, so in that case this is the absolute contraindication for the arterial line. There are some relative contraindication also, that are infection at an insertion site, or if patient having some dearrange platelet, dearrange clotting factor, I mean to say if they have dearrange PT, PTT, INR, then in that patient also we not insert a artery line. Like patient have coagulopathy, like any patient, like if patient have any coagulopathy disorder. So this is the contraindication. So what are the complication of artery line? So most common complication is the thrombosis most commonly, and but by the flushing of the tubing, it not basically it not cause severe damage, and it is the most common complication. But after the flushing again and again, these complication not happen, and it resolve out. Second complication is the infection at the insertion site. Third is a hematoma. Fourth, there is a bleeding. So these are the some complication of the arterial line. So again I am going to discuss about the technique, how to perform an arterial line. Before discussing this topic, I want to discuss about the part of this arterial line, So first we have pressure bag. Second, we have a transducer set. Second, we have transducer set. Third, we have a normal saline, 500 normal saline with heparin on it. So these are the part of the arterial line. Just a second. So how to perform an arterial line? So first, how to perform an arterial line? So cannulate the patient artery at the angle of 30 to 40 degree and tell the patient to extend their hand and cannulate it around 30 to 40 degree. And I want to tell about how it works. Just let me discuss this topic. This is very important topic. uh, so let's discuss it. So this is the pressure bike. So this is the pressure bike. And in this pressure bag, in the inside the pressure bag there is a NS 500 ml with heparin. So it flushes the tubing. And by this pump we set a pressure in this pressure bag. Mainly we set pressure about 250 to 300 mmHg. So it can flushes this arterial line tubing. Then there is a transducer. This is the transducer. The one end of this transducer is connected to the monitor, and the other end of this is transducer tubing is connected to the patient artery. So patient artery. And there is a main things. Just a second. So basically what is here? So this is a transducer. And this is a transducer. By this transduction, the mechanical energy basically converted into electrical energy, and it's show in the waveform here. I mean to say, when the heart pump the blood in this artery, the pressure feel, and these pressure are converted into the electrical energy by this introducer. And by this tubing it connected what this tube connected to the monitor, and this monitor show in the form of wave of the reading. So guys, this is what I wanted to discuss this. So again, I'm returning to my topic. So basically that's how we perform the arterial line. And next thing guys, I want to discuss about the waveform. So that is very important. A waveform. So let me discuss about the waveform. So firstly there is a aortic wall which open initially, and after that there is a systolic upstroke. So this is a systolic upstroke. I'm not going to write fully, so I'm just telling you, you can write this. This is a systolic upstroke, and here we get systolic blood pressure. Systolic blood pressure. And slowly there is a fall in the pressure, and there come a dicrotic notch. So this is what dicrotic notch. This is a dicrotic notch, guys. This is a dicrotic notch, and here AV close. Aortic valve get close. So when the aortic notch close, the diastolic blood pressure start. So what is this? This is diastolic runoff. So this is the diastolic runoff. So guys, what is this? The area under curve. These both represent the mean arterial pressure. What is the mean arterial pressure? Basically average pressure in the one cardiac cycle. That is the mean arterial pressure. The average pressure in a one cardiac cycle is a mean arterial pressure. So basically you can also calculate the mean arterial pressure by some formula. if I'm not wrong, the formula is mean arterial pressure, the systolic blood pressure plus 1/3 of diastolic blood pressure. You can also check this, maybe I'm wrong. uh, uh, so you can check it by the different you can Google and you can find out this formula. So what is the mean arterial pressure? So mean arterial area under the curve is the mean arterial pressure. So basically it tell about the tissue perfusion. Basically it tell about the tissue perfusion. So don't forget this mean arterial pressure tell about the tissue perfusion. So here guys our diastolic blood pressure, and here is our systolic blood pressure. The difference between the systolic and diastolic blood pressure, you know that before, that is a pulse pressure. So systolic blood pressure minus diastolic blood pressure is equal to pulse pressure. So this is the pulse pressure. So basically guys, this one whole wave form, it indicate one beat of the heart. It indicate the one beat of the heart. And guys, one thing so basically one thing I also want to discuss about the damping and damping. So what is guys this damping? Damping is the basically why this damping happens. So what is with this damping guys? This damping means buffer. This means buffer means any error in the normal wave form is called the is because of the damping. And damping means buffer. Damping means buffer or the low oscillation. So basically these are the oscillation na. These are what? These are oscillation. So damping means buffer or low oscillation. So any error in this wave form is called the damping. Is because of the damping. Any error in these waveform is called the damping. So it is basically there is a two damping, under damping and over damping. So what this under damping and over damping? Over damping in the sense, over damping waveform look like this. So this is how over damping waveform look like. Means you can see that there is no any diacritic notch. So this is the error in a waveform, and this is the error in the waveform. And there is a basically you can say that there is a over damping. Basically there is a undershoot systolic pressure, and there is a overshoot of diastolic pressure. Undershoot of systolic pressure and the overshoot of systolic pressure, diastolic pressure. So this is the over damping. Under damping means there is a much oscillation. So you can see this graph. Here you get a notch, then after one beat there is some rest, and then again you find this oscillation. So basically in normal condition we let's just let me see you a normal heart wave, normal arterial line wave. So this is look like that. This will look like this. So basically this is how it look like. So basically this is one beat, and after one beat there is some rest, and after some rest there is you can see there is two oscillation. 1 to 2 oscillation, and then normal waveform form. So in this case you can see after rest there is no oscillation. So this is why there is a no oscillation or low energy. So you can see that there is a over damping. and in this case you can see that there is a lot of oscillation. You can see that there is lot of oscillation, and there is a multiple dichrotic notch, and there is a multiple dichrotic notch. This is the under damping. This is the under damping. So guys, let me tell you cause of the over damping and under damping. So cause of first I want to discuss about the cause of the over damping. Over damping. So the cause of over damping is these basically occur due to the error in the system. Error in the system. So cause of the over damping is a large air bubble in tubing. Large air bubble in the tubing. Second, there may be the blood clot or thrombosis, a loose connection in the system. These are the cause of the over damping. And the under damping cause, and cause of the under damping is the basically small air bubble in tubing. Small air bubble in the tubing. Second one is the pressure. Second. So basically guys, these all are the causes and of the damping and over damping. So so basically these are the topic. So basically this was the topic. This was a very important topic that I want to discuss with you. Hopefully you get it, and if you get it guys, please like the video and subscribe the channel, and please share this video because this help too many nurses, too many doctor who working in a ICU department. So basically if you have any doubt, you can ask me in a comment section. When will I see, I will 100% answer it. So thank you guys.